I don't know. Like, as I've gotten more peace inside, I feel like, I don't know, it's like nature's even responding, which is pretty cool. So the reaction of your dog, like, doesn't surprise me.
Right. Of him just be sitting out there like, there's something in there that I need to be close to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went through so much pain and inner turmoil for so many years, and now it's the pendulum on the other side. And I just feel like God's creation responds accordingly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There's so much there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, but I love how you said that God's creation.
Oh, yes.
The only reason I say that is because I know some people who get lost in creation and they make creation, or some people say the universe, their God. They stop there.
Yeah.
Like they stop at creation and they're like, this in itself is enough to worship. And I get it.
Yeah. For me, that stuff is fine as a starting point because it's about meeting people where they are.
For sure.
But Jesus met people where they are, but he didn't leave them there.
Yeah.
The question is, how do we get there with love and without judgment? You know?
Yeah.
When I was actually a chaplain for a local group in West Orange, New Jersey, West Orange African Heritage Group. And when I would start the sessions, I would always start with, to the creator of in the universe which was created, so that I'm trying to bring anybody who has any sort of spiritual connection into a conversation where they're not immediately turned away. So that what I say next is about welcoming and providing a spirit of peace. So the language I'm using is very much in alignment with my understanding of Jesus, but the words that I'm using,
you're very strategic with it.
I am, because what does it benefit to turn people away before they can even be introduced to the beauty that exists?
I was literally about to say, like, that's exactly what Paul meant when he was saying that, like, I'm gonna mess this up, so I'm gonna paraphrase it, but he talked about how, like, it doesn't benefit me any to not be like a Roman when in Rome.
Yes.
And or be like a Gentile around Gentiles, because if I want to say, well, hey, look, if you're not like me, then you're not accepted, then that immediately loses people. Like I lost them in the first few words.
Absolutely.
But also recognizing that, like, okay, I also equally need to not be so on one side that I lose the truth, or as we talked about just a second ago, be lukewarm in order to gain your ear.
Yeah.
Because I can start off with the non-truth and then eventually, like, pour on the truth. But isn't that what this world's already doing? It's giving you enough truth sprinkled with the lie, just enough to where you're confused.
Yeah. And frankly, that makes it harder to get to where you need to be, because you've taken somebody down a road that you then have to turn them back from. And so, and as you were talking, I'm reminded of, I think it's in Judges, because I think it's when the Israelites are taking back the land of Canaan and other lands, where there's a bridge and folks were asked to say a specific word, and the word is shibboleth. And the whole point was, if you're from a certain area, then you say it a certain way versus another area, and they know based on how you say it. So the word shibboleth becomes a litmus of certain ways. And I think one of the areas where we get into trouble is we choose one part of the Christian faith and we make some aspect of it a litmus. And if you're either on one side or the other, the problem is, if somebody were to look into our lives, they would see some place where we're not on the right side of a litmus.
Of course.
And that's where we really start to get into trouble. People calling people hypocrites, this, that, and the other, versus being a vessel of love. And frankly, what we say at the end of the day is not nearly as important as how we act.
Come on, listen. I was literally thinking that. I was like, it's the same idea of, like, don't cause your brother or sister to stumble due to your own things that you live out when you think people aren't watching or not around
Absolutely.
you,
Absolutely.
or the things that you think aren't that bad. Like me, it's like me saying, okay, well, I'm about to pour a drink. You want a drink?
Mhm.
And realizing that, like, I don't know your whole story, but yet I may cause you to stumble just because I just want to drink today. And there's
Right.
nothing wrong with drinking, but I don't know how that may cause you to stumble. And
Right.
so I think it's not so much saying, well, I'm not gonna be this way, but it's like, who am I at home? And
Mhm.
and I need to be that same guy out
Mhm.
here. And if that
Mhm.
guy is still working towards um 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 aligning my heart with Christ's to be more like him, and that's not to be perfect, because I won't ever be perfect. That'll
No.
be that'll be the hardest battle ever, trying to be perfect. But align my heart with his to where there are certain things that I can even be mindful to say, you know what, I don't mind a glass of wine every once in a while, but that doesn't mean that I have to always take what I would do with me
Mhm. Mhm.
everywhere. I don't have to pour up a glass of wine everywhere. It
Mhm.
shouldn't be like how I sit around, and that's the only way I can sit amongst company. So I think it's just being mindful of all of that, of like, you don't have to be fake, but how real or how well do you know yourself, and what's behind some of the things that you do now that's
Yeah.
like, well, this is just who I am, and this is
Yeah.
just how I am, and never actually like understanding, well, why is that? Well, like, what's like why do you need that? Not that it's a problem, but why do you need that?
Yeah.
Uh, Cause, man, it's just what I've been doing forever. I
And
just
we fall into that issue of it's part of my routine.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem is, without knowing, routine very easily crosses the line into idol.
Come on. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah.
things, basically, the way I've come to understand it is, an idol is anything which forces you to look around God to see it,
Sheesh, I love that.
because that means something holds a higher level of importance than
Yeah,
God. And that's a daily battle for the flesh, to not put things in this world ahead of the eternal,
yeah,
to put anything that is earthly ahead of the kingdom. And in truth, that's sin. I heard it said recently, and I love it, is sin, if you truly understand sin is seeking happiness or fulfillment from anything that is contrary to God. That's sin.
yeah.
That covers a multitude of a lot of things. It
Yes.
basically means you are trying to have your spiritual self filled with something other than what it was meant to be filled with.
Right.
And so it's automatically illegitimate. And it's not like talking this morning over breakfast. We create these rankings and these hierarchies of sin.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
Sin
like, oh, well,
is
this
sin
is worse,
sin
and
is,
this is
yeah.
worse than that, and
Yes.
if you do this, this is unforgivable, and it's like, but my sin, it's like lower on the totem
And
pole.
as Christians, what does that allow us to do? It allows us to find our own self justification. And
Yeah,
it allows us to create in and out groups. And I'm more holy or whatever. When in the end, so much of that is tied back to insecurities
yeah,
and traumas and these
yeah.
other things, where we are trying to find value and worth in a place that it was never meant to be. And
Mm,
so we create these unnecessary and harmful categories. We end up casting people out of the church, out of our groups, out of whatever,
yeah.
because of different views. I think of Paul. You were talking about Paul, the whole concept of circumcision and what he
Yeah, yeah,
said
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what it was.
with the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gentiles who were coming into the faith. And some of the Jewish leaders were like, well, they can't be part of the covenant if they're not circumcised. And he
Right.
goes, well, the circumcision was tied to the old law.
Yeah.
We're under the new law. It is not wrong to follow that which was in the old law, but the old law never gave life.
Ye
Jesus was about giving life. And so we need to love so that we introduce life. And if we were, going back to what you said about perfect, if we were perfect, if anybody thinks they're perfect,
Mhm.
what they are saying is, I don't need Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jesus' sacrifice
Yeah.
was unnecessary and a waste. There are people who will never get a chance to meet God in the way that we sort of understand it. What if their one opportunity to meet God is through us?
100%.
It's one of the reasons why the prayer before I leave the house every morning, Lord, when people meet me, let them shake hands with Jesus.
Shit.
That's what I want.
It's good.
If I can do that each and every day, then
No, I love that.
I think I'm living this life as I'm supposed to. And so if we keep putting litmus tests and shibboleths and Christian purity, this and that and the other, I mean, by the time we're done, you're going to have like 3 people in a room. And the reason you're going to have those 3 is because they're either lying or they're unaware.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Do you feel like that was more about how people saw themselves, or how you made them feel based on what you were sharing that didn't meet them where they're at? Like, I'm way down here and you're like calling me higher, and it's like, bro, before I can get up out of this space that I'm in right now, can you come and sit with me here, see what it's like here before like we walk there? I believe God can do something with my story.
Yeah.
I believe God can do something with my life and turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
But is God aware of where I'm sitting right now? And is he aware, like, does he see how bad it is? And more importantly, if it's as bad as I think it is, does he actually like want to do anything with me? Or is he just like, yeah, bro, I can't fix that. That's past me.
See, oh man, that's a great question. For me, it took me a lot of years and a lot of different addictions, frankly, to where I was able to be open and aware of like all of the trauma that took me away from the man that I was created to be. Some time ago, what God shared with me is that we are all manifestations of his most amazing dreams. That in time before time, because we serve a creator who knows no such thing as time, how does an omnipotent, always existing being understand a minute? A minute requires an end point and a beginning point, and we serve a creator that doesn't.
Yeah.
And he shared with me one time that in time before time, every single one of the estimated 15 billion people who have existed at one point or another, they were a piece of a dream in his mind. And we are all the manifestations of his dreams. Each one of us. That's why we're so unique, because that's how amazing of a God we serve.
Yeah.
That we are all living manifestations of a dream. And what goes along with that dream is that in this house with many mansions that we're told about, God has a picture, a painting of all of us as he dreamed us to be. And our time on this planet allows us the opportunity to grow into that image. And how proud is Papa when we grow closer to it? But this life, the devil, all of the evil that exists in a fallen world does its best to make sure we never get anywhere close to that.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
So for me, after getting an awareness of all that had happened to me, I had to confront God about why. This was after I was a lay minister. And when I started struggling with certain addictions, I was unable to stop, and I didn't know why. And then I started becoming aware of the traumas, and then I got angry with God. Like, how could you allow this kind of stuff to happen?
Yeah.
Which was me putting out there everything I've been through and asking, why would a loving God allow this? And it's in the answer that God gave me that allowed me to know that he was always there, and that what I've been through, that's going to be my ministry. My pain is going to become my purpose. All the calluses and stuff, the scars, that's proof of healing.
Yeah, yeah.
The wounds aren't open anymore. They've been scabbed over, and the scars are proof that they're healed. I'm not going to be ashamed of my scars anymore. And I'm not going to let anybody else lead me to have shame in my scars, because these scars, these are proof that God pulled me through some expletive. I mean, really some deep stuff. The poetry, this slam type poetry is something that I didn't know was in me until about 3 years ago. And it was as I really started going through a healing process that I stopped living in my head. It was a lot less painful to live in my head. But God had to get me out of living in my head, because God is head, heart, everything. We learn in the New Testament that the body is all parts of the body. Well, if we're all reflective of God, God is all parts. I was cutting off my heart because of the pain. So I had to be taken through healing so that my heart could be opened. And once that is opened, creativity is absolutely blossomed.
Look, I was literally about to ask you, I think so many people believe that creativity starts with a thought and it comes from your head space. And I always think to myself of like, well, there's so many thoughts that go through our mind. And so if it comes from our head, then why is it that a lot of our creativity doesn't also showcase all the other mumbo jumbo that just like filters through our head? So is it fair to say that, and I know your answer, but I'm going to let you say it anyway, but is it fair to say that the creativity that God put in us all comes from our heart?
Oh man, I mean, that's a great question. I think in understanding, like in the spiritual tense and terms, what heart means, it's not what we interpret as heart. It really is, in my understanding, and folks are welcome to different understandings, because there's not sort of like one, this is what it is, right? But in talking with friends who went through seminary, through theologians, and just studying on it, the heart in that understanding is really the bridge between our soul, which is our true personhood. Right. This stuff, this all dies and goes away.
Yeah, for sure.
And it says God is a person, but we know God is beyond gender, but God is a person, and we all reflect God. So our person, right? The spiritual, and that heart is like the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual, as I understand it. So to say that that's where creativity lives, I think that is the conduit by which creativity comes to flow, because some people's creativity seems to live in their tactile features, right? They create, they build. I've seen some dudes recently that do these crazy mashups with different cars. There's one guy who put a Koenigsegg engine into a Supra.
Okay.
That's creative.
I was about to say it must be a creative
thing.
I don't know what that.
Oh no, you don't understand. Koenigsegg is like the demon child of cars. Like some of these Koenigsegg's have 4 engines, and each one have 4 horsepower, and each one's connected to a single wheel. Like we're talking insane power, right? And your standard cars with your cooling systems, your carburetors, with all this stuff, they can't handle it. Well, he created this different sort of idea of how to fit all of this stuff under a Supra and get it all to fit, which theoretically, yeah, it's possible. But when you look at the actual, like, this shouldn't be possible.
Right.
But his mind was in there. Obviously his heart was in there, but where did it manifest? In his hands.
And his creativity. Yeah.
And so creativity was there. Before I was able to connect in with my heart, I was very successful intellectually. I have a master's and a PhD from the University of Michigan. I've got more than 20 publications, 5 books, and a number of peer-reviewed journal articles. I've consulted and presented on all of this stuff, but all of that stuff was in my head because I was trying to avoid my heart. And now that the heart is connected, and now that I'm like leading my brother's keeper work, which is taking all of these things we know intellectually, but trying to bring it into the lived experience of young Black and Hispanic men and getting them ready for life success.
Right.
And part of what we've built into this is opportunities for counseling and for them to be vulnerable. And when you see these 18 and 19-year-olds in a room crying together with no shame, that's heart. It's head, because we put the things together to get there.
Yeah.
And part of it is the physical, the space that we brought them into. And when I shared with them last year that I wasn't able to be in some of these events over the summer because I had to go to my mom's funeral and I had to handle a lot of this stuff, these 18, 19-year-olds got in a line to hug me.
Wow.
Is it just heart? No.
Yeah.
But heart is damn sure the conduit.
For sure.
And that's why I believe so much of what happens to us is designed to kill the heart. Because you kill the heart, you kill the connection with the Father. I preached not inaccurately, but I preached from a God with rules who judged and held accountability. That's not wrong.
Right.
There was no heart to it.
Right. All law and truth.
Why?
No
because I didn't have the heart connection to God.
Yeah.
And that had to happen for me to then have my story be shared, and my heart had to be healed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's in this poem.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you get to that poem.
I'll get back to it. Go ahead.
To it real quick.
Go ahead.
It's so funny you say that, because I think about how, like, people are so quick to always say, well, like, he knows my heart, and like you know my heart. And just as much as there's so much, I know. Just as much as there's so much creativity and so much that God can do through our hearts, he also knows that when people say that, he's like, I do know your heart. And the truth is your heart is also deceitful. Your heart can be hardened. Your heart can be a heart of stone right now, a heart that I want to transform and I want to turn to flesh. But yet you sit there and there's so much that you are carrying, so much that so much hurt there, so much that you don't want to face, that you have boxed up and you've put in this heart that you're like, well, they know my heart. And the truth is like, yes, there have been so many people that have experienced your version of your heart, the heart you have constructed that is so broken, that is so hurt, that is holding so much pain, and it's definitely not ready to give that heart to God, because you've probably snatched it from him and said, no, you don't care for my heart, because if you did, you wouldn't have let that happen, as you said earlier.
Yeah.
And so it's my heart now to control, and it's my heart to feel, and it's my heart to live out of, and our heart produces from that. Literally, it produces from that hurt. It produces from that pain. And so I think it's fair to say that our heart is a product of what we've allowed to take up space in it.
Yeah.
And it produces from what's there that we've allowed to, whether it be like the ice box, as Amari Corn
got an ice box where my heart used to be.
Right.
Oh man,
right?
Wow.
Either
Yep.
there, or it's like where we sit with, like, God, I've given my heart to you for you to dwell in. So everything that flows through it is going to be a byproduct of what you do in my life every day.
From the abundance of the heart.
There it is.
What you just said. And I had never thought about it this way, but when you said, God knows my heart, they know my heart, what immediately went through my head is, yeah, but do you know your heart?
Yeah.
Because I think the answer to that so often is no.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go within 10 feet of it. Because of the hurt, because of the darkness, because of all of these things. You don't want to be anywhere near your heart. You don't trust your own heart.
Yeah.
But then you talk about he knows my heart.
Yeah.
As if that's okay. There's a reason why the heart is described in all of these ways. And sometimes what we think is our identity, that ain't nothing but our feelings speaking. It's nothing but our trauma speaking. It's nothing but our pain speaking.
Yeah.
And because the mouth is so powerful, the tongue, as powerful as a rudder on a ship, right? Because that's the case, we speak death into spaces where God would have us speak life.
Yeah.
And it's not intentional for so many people. I firmly believe that so much of the wrong and stuff that goes on in this world often starts with a quote unquote good heart. I think it starts with good intentions.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't end in that space.
Sure.
It's one of the reasons, and you and I have talked briefly about, I've gotten so much of my healing through anime. I've got a whole journal of lessons that I've learned and how I've incorporated them into Bible verses and all this, that, and the other. And, you know, one of the things that I've gotten from that is just this Vinland Saga. If people haven't seen it, that one's phenomenal, because it really is about a journey of a man figuring out who he is, goes through incredible pain and loss early in life, thinks revenge is supposed to be his goal, only to learn later in life that it's not. And he has a statement in there after he gets punched in the face 100 times, because he has to take the punching just so that he can speak to somebody to try and create peace. They ask him at the end, like, why did you go through all of this? We're your enemies. And he said, I don't have enemies. And that's how I try to live. And I understand enemy is throughout the Bible, and I understand the concept of an enemy. But if I choose to view another child, another beloved son, or another beloved daughter of the Most High as my enemy, I'm in the wrong. Because that means I can never see them through God's eyes. I can never see one of my children as an enemy, and I'm but a human dad. Are you telling me that this Heavenly Father wants us to look at each other as enemies, when in reality so often we're acting out of our pain, we're acting out of this, and He wants nothing more than to get in our heart and help to heal us.
Yeah.
But we create more and more walls and barriers for people to even find God. We turn it into the Squid Games to find God.
Wow.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
It's what we do. And we got the quote unquote leaders of the church up there as the game directors, setting the rules as they see fit, choosing who to remove. This is why Jesus went after folks in power more than anybody else. You are given power for the purpose of stewardship.
Yeah.
Not for your own ego.
For sure.
Not for what you can get out of it. Right? That's why He spent more time getting on those groups than anybody else, and why He spent the most time on those who were marginalized.
Right. Wow. Sheesh, man.
So we got to be doing that stuff. Like, if we're talking about we're going to follow Jesus, then follow Jesus. We're given the blueprint.
Yeah.
We're given the blueprint.
Yeah.
It's a blueprint that says that regardless of what somebody did to me, I need to view them as a beloved child.
Right.
And that's going to require me to swallow some stuff, to work through some stuff, to trust God that in the end, that's what it's about. Otherwise, I'm just going to live in a space of bitterness. And you can't live in your heart and be bitter at the same time. I don't think it's possible.
Well, it's funny, as you said that, I literally thought that I think I don't, and this is just one perspective of, like, I think there are so many people that have no problem following Jesus as long as they can follow so many other people at the same time. It's like think about it. Instagram doesn't give you just you can only follow one person on here, and that's who you will follow until you unfollow them and then choose a new person to follow. Ooh, imagine if that's what it was. Like, you got to follow one person on social media, and you you follow that person until either your mentality changed, or until they just became no longer, I'm just not interested in following them anymore.
Yeah.
And so now you can unfollow them to follow a new person.
Yeah.
But because we're given the access to follow as many people, and a lot of us are a collage of all the people we follow. Like, I dress like this guy. I talk like this person.
Yes.
I eat like this person. I stick my head in a bowl of water, and I go to work every day like this guy. I'm just a collage of everybody.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of God in there too. Like, there's a little bit of Christ. I follow Him when it's convenient, when it feels good.
A little bit of holy seasoning here.
Yeah. I'm a collage of everyone.
Yeah.
And so It's like, yeah, just follow Christ. Well, then why did you give me the opportunity to follow so many other people then if I just am supposed to follow one person?
And we know the reason from the spiritual is
Yeah.
because if we were told that we could only do one thing, that's not love. Love,
No, it doesn't
love and
feel it.
control are incompatible. Love and control are incompatible because love requires trust. And as we read, 1 John 4, 7, and 8, as we read other areas in the New Testament, it's not that God does love.
Yeah.
It's that God is love.
Yeah.
And he loves his children. That's why there's evil in the world, because there's free will.
Yeah.
So we have the choice. Here's the thing. We are empowered by God. Incredible responsibility given by God to all of his children is that we have the choice as to what we do. The part we don't seem to like is we also then have the choice for the consequence.
For sure.
That's a lesson that's taken me many a year to understand, that I'm also choosing my consequences. The beauty is, as much as you want to run, you're running on a treadmill. As soon as you hit the power button, he's right there. He never went anywhere. He's always there.
Yeah.
Because he is love.
Yeah. And the beauty is that I think there's such a beauty in him showcasing that love when you've been used to running from people and them not being there when you turn around because you've running far enough away from them to where they just said, I'm not chasing after them anymore.
Of course.
They're not even worth it. And so you're used to that. So you're like, it's cool. He'll stop running eventually. He'll stop chasing after. He'll stop pursuing me because everybody does after I've run far enough. Sheesh.
But he never will stop pursuing.
Yeah.
The creator of all knows the number of hairs on your head and wants you to be in constant communication to talk about what you're doing in your day. I think about the men that were called men after God's hearts. They were far from perfect. I'd rather not continue to just bash David. Like, yes, some of the stuff he did, incredible. But this is also a man who took 5 stones down to Goliath, and something I learned recently. He took 5 stones because apparently Goliath had 4 brothers.
Oh, come on.
He knew 1 stone was enough. He had 4 in case the others decided to start some mess.
That's rich.
He had the ability to write psalms that speak to the pain and the hurt and the absolute adoration. He wrote some of these while he was in caves trying to avoid Saul, while he was trying to avoid Absalom. I don't know. He kept having to run from people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was also an incredible warrior. He came back with 100 foreskins when, he had to get Micah as his wife. Like, this man was the mightiest of warriors, apparently was incredibly creative, and also had this gift with music that was phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Saul's spirit would be calmed whenever David would play, and had the incredible agility to avoid giant spears being thrown right at him, right?
Right.
And so he did amazing things, but he also was immensely flawed. But he was called a man after God's heart. And that's because regardless of what he did, he always came back to seek.
Yeah.
And, after the first child with Bathsheba died, Nathan the prophet came and all of that. I didn't realize this until a sermon recently. David apparently kept away from God for a very long time and was in a depressive state. As soon as he came back to God, like, the depression left. Because that was not the state he usually was in. That was not the state he was created to be.
Right.
And the lesson I think we learned from that is, regardless of the gifts, we're flawed. We can't worship the gifts. We have to worship the creator. And that's what David did. And everything he did is he always went back to God. And I heard recently this, so what's the difference between Peter and Judas? because they both betrayed. They both betrayed.
For sure.
But one betrayed and ran.
Yeah.
And one betrayed and felt pain and sorrow and wanted to come back.
Yeah.
And the thing is, how many times did he betray Jesus?
3 times.
When Jesus came back, how many times did Jesus speak to him?
Yeah.
He gave him 3 opportunities.
For sure.
He gave him 3 opportunities to be restored.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And that's why Peter was the rock and why Peter was the first pope, and on and on and on and on and on.
For sure.
It's not the sin. It's not those things that define us. It's who do we run to? That's what defines whether we have a heart after God.
Come on.
I had this amazing dream years ago where there was this house and there was some stuff going on, and this griffin-like looking creature ripped the roof off of the house and pulled all of us. And then all of a sudden we were in this amphitheater outside. And I looked over and there were some people who had like eagle talons, and there were some people who had wings, and there were some people who had beaks and all of this. And then this great creature, which was like part lion, part eagle, part all kinds of different animals, landed and morphed into this very tall, bronze-skinned individual with dreadlocks. The mane that was the lion's mane turned into dreadlocks. And because the brightness was so great, there was actually like sunglasses there. And what hit me in that moment was, wow, we're standing before the Lord. And when we saw this other form, as I looked around, everybody had a piece of them that was that creature that just saved us all. And that reminded me that regardless of what we look like, we're all family.
Yeah.
We all have different parts, and it goes back to the body of Christ and all of these different parts. And the problem we run into is we want to judge other people's parts against our parts. It's all the Father. And so we have to be able to appreciate the DNA and where it comes from. And we have to stop worshiping the created. And stop worshiping the gifts and worship the gifter and the creator, understanding in his grand plan, we all were created, part of that dream I talked about earlier, where there's different parts we want to fulfill. If we all had the same purpose to fulfill, there would be a whole lot of things missed in this world.
Right.
But yet, if we all live to the purpose, I truly believe that every major issue that exists in this world would have somebody who God has called to address it. But do they want that calling? Are they willing to take on the weight of that calling? Are they willing to go through the fires to be refined for that calling? Or do they just want God to bring me to the end of what I'm going through? I used to pray like that. No. Now I don't want the storm lifted for a single second. What I want is my hand held. I want the guidance. I want that in the storm, because it's the going through the storm often that builds what we need for what's next. It's like, I want to be able to lift, 400 pounds. Okay, great. Now you can lift 400 pounds. But if I didn't go through the 2 years of the nutritional training, getting the trainers working with me, breaking down and tearing the muscle fibers, having them be rebuilt and all of that kind of stuff, I may technically be strong enough to lift whatever, but when a situation comes that requires the strength that would have taken years to develop, I don't have it. I missed out on the opportunity to develop what I needed for the next season because I was worried about an outcome that I thought, when in reality, he had an outcome that was greater, and it was going to require that refining.
Man, as even in listening to you say that right now, I think about how you can see your gifts and begin to try to put the whole puzzle together immediately and miss out on what God wants to actually do with it.
Yeah.
And not to say that that's the story of everybody that has fallen at the top of their game, at the top of their platform, at the top of what they have constructed. But I believe that a lot of times God is showing us that what I want to do and the plan I had, even with the gift that you believed you knew what it was for, it was always to go through this. But the thing is you put it on the back end of your platform instead of it being on the front end of your platform. And so now here you are, you got ahead of me. You took what was always supposed to be used for my glory, to build up something in my name, and now here comes what was supposed to be on the front end of that. On the back end of your ascension to like this great mega church pastor, or this great teacher, or this great minister, or this great whatever doctor, this great lawyer, this I mean, we've seen it in everything. And I mean, even when it comes down to like the highest office of the United States of America, as president, we've seen people make mistakes that could have come beforehand. But the thing is let's be real, we all believe that nobody gets to come back from a mistake. So I'd rather the mistake follow the afterwards instead of coming in the beginning of it. I know we got all out here. We got
but what you're saying, and it takes me right to the Lord, look at all of these things we did in your name, and I will look at you and say, I knew you not. And it's because we focus on the gift and the talent. And this is gonna hit you. We make the gold, we make the treasure, the gift. The treasure is supposed to be the fruit. The tree produces the fruit, but only if it's tapped into the source. And we will be judged by our fruits. And I heard this said recently, which I love. Remember, trees don't eat their own fruit. The fruit's not for them. The fruit's for others. So if we make things about the gift, that's about what we've been given, not what we are able to give. It's supposed to be about the fruit. We sometimes forget that part.
100%.
We make the gift the thing we treasure, and unfortunately, sometimes worship. Harder to worship the fruit because it's about what we give to others. Easier to worship the gift, which is what we can think, look what I did. Look who I am. Look at my name. Look at my brand. I heard this years ago, which I love, which is God don't like sharing his glory.
Matter of fact, if nothing else, we should take that from the story of Satan. We could take. I mean, let's just go directly there. Like that's the last person that considered themselves. Well, I'm sure he won't miss a little bit of this glory coming my way as a minister of worship. If a couple people just worship me and it just, he won't miss this. He won't even probably recognize it.
And yet a third of the heavenly hosts fell. And these were folks directly in God's glory. So how much easier is it for us as human beings to fall unless we're tapped into the source?
Where's my button now? Come on. Mic drop. Yeah.
I understand some people fight against this statement, and I get it, but I think we are where we're supposed to be. And what I mean by that is all the mistakes we were going to make, all the struggles we were going to have, that was baked into the calling. It's not like God can ever be surprised by anything we do. So all of that was baked in. God made David and Solomon the people he did, knowing what they were going to do, right? Didn't stop their calling.
I mean, even down to like the fact that he gave Solomon all the wisdom in the world, knowing that he was going to not be able to fully rein in that gift the way we thought we would if I just had all the wisdom in the world.
If I just had what I would have done. It's amazing it's amazing the lives we can live theoretically after we know the mistakes that people made who lived in the time that they were there. It's amazing. You know, we would have been incredible if we could have done that. But I now really try to view understanding God in the present and like this poetry and this creativity stuff. If I would have been in a place where I knew God the way I know now back when I was preaching, I would not have likely gotten in touch with an understanding of all the trauma that I've been through, the divorce process I'm going through now, with all of these hard things. They've given me an opportunity to now have an affinity with other children of God who have suffered through things. But I have been blessed with these painful, refining opportunities, because I can now be somebody who can reach out and touch and help because I've been there.
Yeah.
There's West Wing years ago, there was this statement that I loved about there was a man in a hole, and a priest walks by and throws down a prayer, and a psychiatrist walks by and throws down a prescription, right? But nobody's going in, and other people see him, they're like, oh, we'll pray for you, whatever. And then his friend comes up and he actually jumps into the hole with him. Friend goes, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck in the hole. He goes, yeah, but I've been here before. I know the way out. God needs people who have been through hell, who are willing to go back with a bucket of water. That's my calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't get there if I got this the first time.
Right.
Do I look back and say, oh, I would love to have? Not anymore. There was a part of me that did that. But if I wish I would have done things differently, that doesn't mean that there's not sorrow. I'm saddened by the people I've hurt. I'm saddened by the mistakes that I made, but I don't regret anymore. And if I say I hate that person I was, or I regret what I did, well, that earlier evolution of Christopher was strong enough to get me here. I'm insulting the person that I was. And frankly, in my opinion, I'm insulting God, because God was there for that person, that version of me that was doing the best he could at that time.
Yeah.
God was there for that person. God loved that person. How dare I hate that person?
Yeah.
And that's been a tough place for me to get to.
For sure.
But the common thread through all of it is a loving father.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. It's the glue that sticks it all. It brings it all back into perspective. It's the reason behind, me even creating a slogan that said, like, be the man you needed when you were younger.
Yeah.
Of like, no. It's not just a matter of saying, well, cool, man, he messed it up. But it's a matter of now saying, like, man, I get to go back now and sit with him and say, you know what? I've gone through this now, so I can come back and sit with you and let you know that it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know that sucked, and you wish that had never happened, and you wish that you didn't have to go through that, and you wish that there was a way around it. But no, you had to go directly through it so that you could be here now to be able to come back and say, hey, look, you needed a hug at that time. So no, that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to God's Glory and Men's Real Stories. I'm excited you joined us. And if you're listening for the first time, please stand up and introduce yourself. Joking. That's not what you really had to do. But for all my regular listeners, I want to thank you as well for joining. I want to thank all those who have joined for the first time. Know that this is a safe space for you and your story, no matter how it may look or what you may be going through right now. Know that it matters and you're not alone. But more importantly, it's not over. So I pray this time together will speak to you right where you're at in your story. So you know what you should do. Sit back with a community that cares about you and hopes that you feel God's love as well as see God's glory in men's real stories. So before we get started, come on, show your boy some love, and as well as today's guest by clicking that thumbs up in the corner real quick. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, it's waiting on you. Like right now, it's waiting on you. Now, that's out of the way. Thank you all for your support, and know that this podcast is nothing without you and the men who God has put it on their hearts to saying yes to joining me. Like today's special guest that I was introduced to by a friend and brother of both of ours, who said one of my favorite lines. you've got to hear this guy's story. So we set it up. I got him here. Well, in all honesty, he made time on his long drive home to stop by and share his story and his creativity with us all. So I'm excited to sit down and welcome our brother, Christopher Shults, to the episode. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I think this is I love to make a point of like, man, people actually have put it in their schedule to stop here, even if it's a long drive from home. And I thought to myself, man, I'll never get a guy next door to come and sit down with me. But now I got men who are like driving hours to just stop in, make this a part of their actual stop to like say, man, I got a short story to share. And I believe God can use it. I believe God has already been working in it.
Yeah.
But I would love to share it with your audience. So, bro, it's a pleasure to have you. Now tell me this. Do you prefer Christopher or Chris?
Yeah, so I actually prefer Christopher.
Okay.
Over Chris. And yeah, there's a story behind that. I know we'll talk about different things, but just briefly, I went by Chris for a lot of years. Part of what we'll talk about in my story is going to have to deal with a mother wound. And that's actually part of why I'm down here, because it's Mother's Day weekend. And after I leave and talking with you, I'm going to go put some flowers on my mother's grave. She passed away last year. And that's a whole process of getting to forgiveness without reconciliation. When I was a teenager, she told me that she named me Christopher because I was born to help bear her burdens. So that was something she put on me when I was about 12 or 13 years old. And she had a combination of 5 either stillbirths or miscarriages before I was born. So I was the 6th and I was the first to survive. And so she unconsciously and consciously put her burdens, attempted to, on me. And those are burdens that I've spent the majority of my life getting healed from and shedding. So that's why Christopher is important, because for me, that was reclaiming the name that I believe God gave me, not the name that my mother tried to put on me. It was about reclaiming my identity. And I actually do even have a poem that I've written called It's Pronounced Christopher, and it's about that reclaiming of identity. Names are important.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So for anybody that knows me, they're like, whoa, this guy's speaking your language already, because like anybody that knows my story, they're like, well, dang, that's an interesting take, because I know all about names. I understand how important it is to when you're named something and how you try to reinvent yourself with different versions of your name, going from being called Robert when I was born, that was on my birth certificate, to being, well, little Robbie or Robbie as a child, and how I so quickly outgrew that. All the hurt that came with that. And then I moved into that space of my life where I was Rob, and getting back to like who God created, the name that he gave, Robert. Yeah. And all that transpired to get there. But man, I can't wait to hear your story, because I think that in all of this, the story that got us back home to the true identity with the name that's attached to that, I think there's so much power in, like, wow, I could have stayed Chris or whatever they may have. I mean, there's so many different versions, you know. It could have been C-Rock. There could have been so many versions of you that people that put on you and said, well, yeah, you're gonna be C-Rock does now, and C-Rock does this.
And my middle name starts with a W, so C-Dub. So many.
Yeah, and you can take on all of these identities and like live out of them and recreate yourself. And who is C-Dub? C-Dub is that dude that runs the street. He don't let nobody do nothing. And
exactly.
So, yeah. So no, I'm excited to hear. So where do you want to even start today? I mean, because I know that you brought not only your story, but you brought, as we talked about previously, before we even got started today, of like how when God begins to do something in your life, it's not only recognizing the stories, but it's also recognizing what's always been there.
Yeah.
That now freely flows out because of how you're living and what he's transformed in your life to just not be able to contain what's now freely flowing.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you were talking, the thing that came to me was when Jesus talks about having faith the size of a mustard seed. I don't know if you or the folks listening to here have ever seen a mustard seed. You can actually buy them in the store, but a lot of people don't get the seeds. Those things look like little sprinkles, like the size of them, and yet the size they grow to. And in the story about the faith being the size of a mustard seed, what we also learn is that the grandeur of this plant existed in the seed. Everything the plant ever needed was given to it when it was created.
Yeah.
It's the same with us.
Yeah.
Now, improper soil, not getting nutrition, blight, damage, pain, all of these things can keep the seed from attaining its true nature.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that the nature was inherent in its creation.
Yeah.
And we're the same way.
For sure.
We're the same way.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy and that's real. I mean, I think that everybody can say that if we looked at our lives as a seed, if we looked at our lives from a seed form, we could say, man, I mean, like, this seed has gone through so much. I mean, like, I literally, like, they removed the soil that I was planted in and moved it to a whole new area. And I just happened to be in that soil and it damaged my surrounding. It took me from one area of life to a different area of life, and I never asked to go. People walked over me and they stepped on me and they blotted out the sun. They kept me from everything, all the resources I needed that they had to grow by. I didn't get it all. I mean, like, there's so many different things. I think that's a lot of all of our stories.
Yeah, and you know what? We can't grow without the sun. SUN, SON.
Come on.
We can't grow without it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our growth is stunted.
Yeah. Wow. That's so real. Yeah. Well, okay. So, but in saying that, though, I think there are so many people that believe that if they could create their own artificial sun, if they could create their own artificial nutrients, if they could begin to live based on their own efforts, then you know what? The lack of sun, I can still pull out, put together a great run.
Sure. You can still have, you can still live. Will you have life? You will often become some, I believe, lesser version of what you could have become because you've depended on getting whatever you need from a source that was not designed to provide you with that. That's when we look again, like for things like for people to fill our cups of worth or of value, right? For a number of years, by a lot of measures, I was very successful professionally. And now I'm in a position of being a VP at a college and having a lot of responsibilities statewide and in some cases nationally. But the truth is, I was running like a hamster on a wheel every day to try and feel worthy, to try and feel that I provided value, to try to not feel like a failure. And in certain parts of my life, because I lived that way and I put on different masks for different things. We talked about the different names and what that could mean. And that takes me right back to Paul Laurence Dunbar. And we wear the masks. Like, which masks are we wearing? And if you wear too many masks, do you remember what the real face looks like underneath them all? And the thing is, we will wear these different masks and we'll fill these different roles. But because we're living a disjointed life, we can never possibly fully grow and blossom into who we were called to be. We may look wonderful in one part, but it's going to be ugly in another part.
For sure.
And the thing is, both of those are us, the ugly and the beauty.
Yeah.
But it's because of living in this disjointed way that we can't reconcile it, you know?
Sheesh,
And so long as we continue to look inside ourselves or we look for others to fill that cup, well, that cup's got a hole in it, which means you're going to have to keep getting it filled and getting it filled and getting it filled and getting it filled. But if we believe scripture, we are supposed to give from our overflow. Well, you can't overflow unless your cup can be filled.
For sure.
And so the cup is supposed to be filled from the Lord. And so when you live in that space, you have overflow. And all that overflow is for other people. You don't need it. Your cup's full.
Right.
You don't need the overflow.
Right.
That overflow is designed for you to be a vessel and to share whatever it is with other people.
For sure.
You don't get there with a false sun. And I don't know about you, but I've had hydroponic plants. They're not quite as good. They're not quite as good. I mean, in a pinch, they'll serve, but if you got a certain taste you want,
right.
It's inferior.
For sure.
It's inferior.
But okay, so and I'd love to go this direction with it. Even when it comes down to like the fact that like when you are living with a heat lamp over you that's producing these different things, when you're living by the means of like what you can do to supplement what you don't want to go to, it requires that in a way you have to use how would you put it? Like nutrients that are created, that are there, that are resources that are around you that tell you like, oh yeah, okay, well, like cool, like okay, well, like this'll do the job.
Yeah,
this'll help get over that. Yeah. This'll patch that up. And I think in my story that was probably a common trend of like, okay, like, well, I don't need God. I just need somebody who will listen to me. I just need to be seen. I just need to get over this, and whatever will help me get over this in the moment, you know. And it's funny, my son was asking me this morning as we were taking a drive, and he was like, Dad, I think that you say that we're all attracted to people who are similar to us, and I don't always see that. And I was like, well, no, I think what it is that you don't know why you're attracted. You're attracted based on one thing. It could be a song. Y'all could both have this song in common and you'd be like, man, but you don't know why and what happened in your life that made both of y'all attracted to that song that may be very similar in y'all's story, but you've never talked about it. Right. So y'all are surface level with, we both love this song right here. And I think in our lives, me and you, we may both meet at a bar. At a sports bar. We got sports in common. We like sports. Yeah. We like beer. We got beer in common. So now we're sports and beer buddies. But now, I've never asked you, why did you start coming here to this bar?
Right.
And you never really asked me. We never got to that point of like, why we started coming. We just both loved the same team.
Yeah.
We both rooted for the same sports. And so, that's my friend. That's my boy right there. What makes y'all's boys? We like the same beer and we like the same sports. Well, but if we got down to it, like, well, what made you start coming here? Now we getting below the surface of like, dang, I thought that we just like the same thing and like the same sports. And didn't even know that like you grew up with a name that you have shortened and recreated yourself in a way like me. That's crazy, dude. You do. And if we really want to go below the surface, like, well, what made you do that? I'm just curious. What happened in your life that made you have to get back to who you were before you became this guy?
Yeah. The surface level stuff is, if we allow it, it allows us to be an introduction for introspection. And when we can do that in community, that's where we start to get some powerful stuff. The closest, the brothers that I have now, the brotherhood, and that's been a new thing. That's been a new thing for me since the divorce process, because I unfairly for a number of years expected my spouse to fulfill certain things. some consciously, some unconsciously. And in reality, she wasn't equipped to. It wasn't her calling to.
Yeah.
She was not supposed to be there to heal me, to do these other things, right? And so I was putting expectations that were not fair. Now, as I have gone through the pain of really coming to grips with, moving on from the marriage, and how do I be the father with my kids, right? How do I still be, productive at work and all of this? Well, all of a sudden I started asking, who am I? Because for so many years I was husband, I was, married, I had a ring. And at a certain point, not because of a desire to do this, but because of my understandings of just how important marriage is, I began to idolize those three things. Like that became my identity. Not child of God first, but these other things. And so in that space, seeking a false son, I became a limited human being. And what's happened over the last year plus, and even a few years before that, is I really started to try and dig and understand who I am and who I was made to be. God has brought in some amazing men into my life in different areas of my life, but all with this common purpose of this walk to Jesus. And what does that mean? And what does that look like? And how do we hold each other accountable and also love on each other? I got this one dude. He is my brother. Like, we call each other that now, and he's going through it hard right now. Like, I've been going through it hard, and we lean on each other, and we call each other sometimes Simon of Cyrene, because sometimes we are that close where it's like, bro, I'm gonna carry your cross today. And actually, one of the poems that I brought is about what we do with the crosses we're asked to carry. And then some days it's like he's my Jonathan and I'm his David, and vice versa. Like, it's that close. I mean, I went back into a building, and this dude's a little taller than me, and he's strong, big dude. But not big, but strong, muscular. And I walk into the building, he sees me. Dude comes running to me like he's the father in the prodigal son story. Just runs, bear hugs me, lift me. You can see I'm not a small dude. He picked me up and just pat my back, and we're sitting there in the middle of a lobby with all these students and all these other people walking around, and he's just like, Christopher, like, da, da, da. And I'm sitting there like, I have never felt this loved in my life. God gave me this love in a season where I began to doubt love.
Sheesh.
God will give us what we need.
Yeah.
We have to go to the right source.
Yeah.
And he'll give us. He knows the pH level of the soil we're buried in.
Yeah.
He knows the access to water. He knows all of this stuff.
Right.
We're guessing.
Yeah, for sure.
But our tomorrow is his yesterday. Ain't nothing going to surprise him. So why on earth would I go to any other source? It's not always easy. It's very hard at times. But I wouldn't have it any other way now. And I've only learned that in the fire of these difficult situations.
Yeah.
When I had nobody else, I was given the gift of desperation. And in the gift of desperation, I was shown who I can really cling to.
Yeah, sheesh.
Everything else now, man, it don't hit right. Look, like, I'm a vegetarian now, right? Every once in a while I think about bacon. Ain't no veggie bacon that hits the same spot. There's one that I found that's pretty good, but man, I can still walk past the store, smell bacon, and it's almost like those old cartoons where dude like gets airlifted and like gets like it just don't hit the same.
For sure.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No substitute for Jesus is going to hit the same, because
Ooh,
we were
on.
built for this.
Yeah.
We were built for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Sheesh. Come on. Look, that's so good how you route that back around, because you're right. You're right. being from the South, it's like it's a joke of you can put bacon on anything and it's gonna be good. Like just know you can put it on anything and it's gonna be good. And I can see that like in everything I tried, in everything that I have substituted or I, oh, this is a cheaper version, but it still works well. I have realized that now on this path, walking with Christ, how he begins to do a thing. It's the difference between like your sprinkler system running or the rain that comes from heaven running. And
there you go.
Man, come on. When I say it's a completely different thing, like, okay, well, like.
One's a stopgap.
Yeah.
And one is what it was built for.
Come on.
And that's the thing is happiness. Those are stopgaps. When we're chasing happiness, we're chasing stopgaps.
Yeah.
When what God wants to give us is joy.
Yeah.
We can chase happiness for our whole life. And that again is that cup with a hole in it.
Yeah.
But the rain, what we're built for, joy is what we're built for. That is supposed to be our natural state.
For sure. But do you notice how many people will push this narrative of like, man, if you could just achieve happiness.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can't swipe, you can't look, you can't even walk past a row of mugs without find your happiness. Happiness is where we want to be. I mean, the one of my favorite movies, as I've said many times, The Pursuit of Happiness. Man, listen to me. And if that movie didn't make me just say, yes, I want that. I want to experience, I want to feel that. I want that moment where I'm in the crowd.
Yeah.
And so
But they don't show the next day.
Come on.
They don't show the next day?
No, you're right. You're right.
Everything is amazing in the moment. But what does a moment mean when we're working with a God that has no beginning or end line to time? What is a moment? What is a moment?
Moment is it fleets. It's so fleeting. It's a moment that you really would have to continue to recreate in order to truly experience happiness all the time. Because as I say, happiness is based on what is happening in that moment. And when that moment is over and that's faded away, you almost have to do it over. You got to recreate that. You got to go back and get the same hit in order to keep the happiness going.
I'm glad you used the word hit, because what you're talking about is a journey where you're chasing the next high. And for some people, it's an illicit substance. For some people, it's an overindulgence of something that's not. And for other people, it's success or validation or money or the next project or the next client or whatever. You know, I love cars. Love them. And I actually love muscle cars. If I can ever get like a 69 Camaro Super Sport with the fatty tires or a 70 Roadrunner or like a 71 Barracuda or a 70 Chevelle, like this is right up my alley, right? I am going to love that vehicle. Now, the problem with English is we use the word love to mean a lot of things, but that aside, I would love that vehicle. After 4 months, I'm not going to feel the same way. I might still appreciate it. I might still clean it myself, but it ain't going to have that feeling as when I first brought it, when I first turned that engine, when I first heard that big block turn over. I'm not going to get that back. Not the same way. At some point it fades because it's a chase.
Yeah.
It's a chase. And we're chasing that next hit, that next high. Well, we've got an eternal, never changing source of joy. Why on earth, why on heaven, why anywhere would we want that stopgap, that substitute?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because it's all we know. Sometimes it feels too painful to go after the real source, because that comes with cost.
Yeah, for sure.
Comes with cost.
For sure. 100%. Yeah. Wow. That's so real. That and that cost is a cost that a lot of us, if we were given the option and shown what the cost would look like and
Mm-hmm.
what it would take from us, what it would give us, we would say, oh my goodness, man,
We would take
listen.
that cost in a second, and the reason is because the greatest cost was paid over 2,000 years ago.
Come on.
That was the greatest cost that was ever. So whatever we have that costs, it pales.
It
pales, and it certainly pales in comparison to the access to the heart of the Father. I've said to some of the folks I know that, in my opinion, and I'm not by any stretch an astrophysicist or any of that kind of stuff, but I understand some of the principles of Einstein's law and some of the Newtons and these ideas of force and power and all of this stuff. But I don't think there's a single force in the universe that is greater than mercy. I think that's the greatest force in the entire, because that had the ability to wipe out millennium of mistakes past and to come.
Yeah.
For a sure. God that is incapable of being in the same room with sin. Incapable. It's against his character.
Yeah.
But his mercy, which is rooted in love, is so great that even is greater than his hatred for sin. It's got to be the most powerful force in the universe.
Wow.
And that's part of why we're then called to show mercy to others, because we can't truly have appreciated it if we then can't give it. Right? It's like it's like the dude who's forgiven of his great debt and then puts in jail somebody who has a much less debt.
Yeah.
He didn't appreciate the gift. And so he was eventually punished accordingly.
Wow. And you're right. Yeah. It's like it went right over his head.
I got mine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm good. Doesn't matter what happens to anybody else.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy. Yeah. And that's so real. And that's I say all that and saying that's been me. Like I didn't even put a price on the grace.
Me too.
Because I saw it as things like, oh, it's just luck. Oh man, well, when you're running and luck is good, you better keep it going. And it's like, oh, I probably got plenty of luck in the tank.
Yeah.
And not realizing that, like, as I was just telling a friend, my mom's prayers may not have changed my choices, but it afforded me grace. And the things that didn't
preach,
that didn't steal my life, that didn't completely just get me out of here. And so I can appreciate her prayers, my grandmother's prayers that afforded me that grace when as we look at even how the prophets used to go to God and say, God, forgive them. God, they don't mean it. God, how Moses said, hey, look, don't destroy all of them. There's good people here. How Abraham went and said, hey, look, do you have to destroy the entire city? Like, what if there were 10 people that like
there were 3?
Yeah. What if they, right. It's like God's grace in these moments of our life where we sat there and we knowingly said, hey man, this is not good, but I'm going to do it because it feels good.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't feel good. And,
right.
And I just want to be happy even if for this moment.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to make a decision that it could ruin.
You're going to act accordingly.
Yeah. Wow. Sheesh. That's heavy.
So that grace and the fact that God is always there.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Whether we feel it or not.
Man, sitting over here thinking about just kind of like thinking about even some of the moments where I would say that there's no way God was sitting in that moment with me, because why would he have done something in that moment where I sat there and it was so ugly? And like, what type of God would let me experience this? and not do something about it. So if he's not going to do anything about it now, I don't expect him to do anything about it the next time I'm in something. So I'm going to be in charge. It goes back to like the thing of like, well, then you know what? If you set that one out, then I don't expect you to like step in the next time. And I don't realize that, no, he didn't sit that one out. He actually kept it from being a lot worse than it was, but he needed me to experience that just so that there would be moments like right now where he could say, tell him about it. Tell him about it. Tell him about it.
Yeah. So in a moment, one of the poems that I brought aligns with that, but the story that I think I need to share before that, I had talked about a mother wound, and I was abused in pretty much every way that you can think about as a kid. And the person who was most responsible for the majority of that was my mother. She admitted somewhat to it a few years ago, and I was able to forgive her. And I told her, for us to reconcile, I just need you to be honest and to tell me, because I remember some things. I've gone through different types of therapy where memories have been unlocked. Things that I thought were dreams at one point in my life, and they were kind of gray, and they were reflections. And as I've come to learn, it's not uncommon for men in their 30s to start remembering things that your child brain locked away to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. And they started to come out. And so I said to her, I need you to be honest. And her response to me would always be, well, what do you remember? And I said, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to work. This is not going to be you doing this on your terms. And my mom was, as were many of her brothers and sisters, sexually assaulted as a kid, which I came to learn later. In fact, we have a whole family in Georgia, which we found out about a few years ago. So if this sounds like a Tyler Perry movie, this sounds a little like Color Purple, like there's a reason, because this is the lives of some folks. And I grew up with, we just forgive and forget. And we don't talk. And at a certain point, it was like, no, I need you to admit to this stuff. And she wouldn't. I forgave her, and I then distanced myself from her because we couldn't have that kind of relationship that I wanted to, but I forgave her. And that allowed me, when she died last year, to help write her eulogy and to help write her obituary and to help people as they came to the viewing. I didn't shed any tears until the casket closed, because for me, that meant that truly I was never going to be able to get the relationship with my mother I wanted. She wasn't capable of it, but I had truly forgiven her. And that allowed me to be one of the pallbearers. And I was happy that I was able to be one of the ones who put her gently into the ground. And later this afternoon, I'm taking flowers over there because tomorrow's Mother's Day. So I need to do that, and I need to spend some time with Mom.
Yeah.
With God there and nobody else there. But one of the things when I was a kid she shared with me was that one time she came into my room when I was about 3 years old at night, and she saw an angel. And I actually remembered seeing an angel. But it wasn't until almost the time where she passed that I heard God say to me, you remember that your mom said she saw an angel standing at the door of your room? And I said, yeah. And God said to me, which side of the angel did you see? And I said, I saw the angel's back. I was protecting you.
Sheesh.
And this was one of the ways that God was sharing with me that many times in my life, he directly reached down to protect me. And very shortly after the divorce, when I started living in the apartment, one of the things that God shared with me was this. The times where I wasn't directly there for you, I cried for you. I cried over you. Not a single time was it okay. But love requires free will.
Sheesh. Wow.
And so after that conversation, I wrote this poem, which I call Set Straight. I also kind of, if it had a subtitle, it would be Job Part 2. It's like my understanding of Job. So it goes like this. My God, this approach to healing your spitting is quite fantastical, and I'm beginning to see it as nothing but comical. Truth is, this cure you're proposing, God, is straight up nonsensical. I have to die to myself, that's what you have to say? Full surrender is the toll that I have to pay? Trust you with my walk ain't no way. Tell me exactly where you were when I was abused, and where were you hanging out when I was confused? I didn't see you trying to protect me, I angrily spewed. I've always been here, my precious son. Son? Son, when was I ever treated as your child? Oh, right. It was when I went through bitter assaults and trials. I'm fighting for my life down here while all the while you let these people just pass me around. You let me get hit, knocked down to the ground. Where the hell were you when I was nearly drowned in the ocean of trauma and hurt and lies? How come I'm left alone while my soul moans and cries? I never saw you there, and the truth is I ain't even surprised. I've always been here, my precious son. Why are you still going on with this son bit? I accept you as my unloving and uncaring ruler, and that's it. Didn't you hear me when I told you how I was violated and hit? You're telling jokes and ain't a damn thing funny, because my entire life ain't nothing but roads that are bumpy, and I've had yet to even see a day that's sunny. Get out of here telling me all that mess. My life's been nothing but struggle and stress, and every single damn thing I've got is due to my success. All right, son, enough. I love hearing my children, hearing them speak from the heart, and I've listened patiently to both the end and the start, so sit back for a lesson as I break your whole logic apart. See, you've now angered me with your empty and baseless boasts. I've personally sent down my heavenly hosts, and though you rejected me, I've given you my Holy Ghost. Every time you were lost, I offered to bring you back to the fold, see? And who gave you that complicated and beautiful mind? Oh, right, that was me. You see many things clearly, but on heavenly matters, you straight blind be. All right, son. I am both the ruler and lord of creation. I am the author and illustrator of both beauty and devastation, and my love for you has not waned, but now you're testing my patience. Did you forget that time I sent an angel from above? I know you ain't forget when I gave that demon a shove, and you got the nerve and audacity to question my love? Now, son, these are but a few times that I have intervened, and yes, I know you're hurt, and I hear you every night when you scream, but I'm telling you now's the time to give your will and heart over to me. Let go, my son. Relinquish to me both your anger and pain. Learn to embrace this loss, because it's the key to gain freedom and joy and healing. Now, let me explain. I want every bit of your ugliness. Go ahead and offer it up to me, but I will not force it from you. I want you to hear my plea. Giving up your false sense of control is key, since I did not create you to hold on to all this mess. You're being destroyed, eaten up by all this stress. You will either change or you're going to die, and this I need to impress. Let go, my son. I am beyond heartbroken. These crimes were committed on you. I never wanted you to be violated or harmed, and that is true, but true love requires free will, and I know you knew that. I only want what's best in your life, and trust me, you will stand taller because of this strife, because of the struggle, and certainly not in spite, because you have come to me, mind, body, and soul. Give all of yourself so I can take the toll, and then I'm going to hand you these diamonds created from your coal. I've got you, my son. Admit now you're powerless. Accept this and see how instantly you're less burdened and how you can breathe easier than you thought possible. Go ahead and test me and see that these promises all come to bear as I take away all your worry and remorse and all of your care, and into eternity you can wistfully stare. Trust is the ultimate test for you, and I definitely know why. I admit that your life has been rough and I'm not able to lie, but your thinking is straight insanity. So come on and give me a try. I've got you, my son. Good. I see you kneeling down, your will now resolved to stopping this insanity. Your hardened heart now dissolved, and committed to allowing me to be involved in the healing with a promise of restoration and building and reversing decades of devastation. I'm proud of you for accepting my heartfelt invitation, and this is but the beginning of the ending of the pain. And to further ease your mind, I will make it quite plain that by giving this up, here's what you gain. In offering up your obsessions, I give you blessed freedom to hold. Yes, I've blasted off those shackles and freed your imprisoned soul. In accepting your powerlessness, I open you up to my heavenly power, and that fear that has ruled your life, 'bout time it runs for a corner to cower. In surrendering your will, I will place your feet pointed in the right direction and lead you beside still waters as you traverse every trial and tribulation, and in laying your sorrows at my feet, what you will now experience is hope. So never again will you walk around a bitter, angry misanthrope. In choosing to yield your intellect, it is wisdom you're going to gain, and full use of your mind with solutions to problems that constrain. In choosing to reject self-sufficiency, you have access to my storehouse of abundance and the lessons that the fullest life is lived in blessed independence. And through your vulnerability, I unlock every innate and beautiful capability. You now have divine access to every desired ability. You've traded in shaky ground for the rock of stability, and by laying down pride for the garment of humility, you now possess humble strength, not mere docility. For you are the son of a king and heir to my nobility, and you are central to my plans, a beacon of utility. So by laying down your arrogance and bitter hostility, by accepting the error of your ways and accepting your culpability, you have a testimony you can share and significant credibility as a miracle, proof of my love and evidence that nothing is an impossibility.
Wow. I would say that's exactly where a lot of us sit with an, as I would say, an anger that turns into an understanding that I wasn't there by myself all that time.
Yeah.
And that he had a plan in it all, even though it hurt. But that it's not his first time watching one of his sons go through a struggle and a pain that he knew he was going to do something with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now all of this, pardon, I feel like I got to use the phrase fertilizer, right? All the shit in our lives can be turned into fertilizer if we allow God to.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of fertilizer.
Yeah.
And God's using it to help grow a lot of other people. And had I not been through, and had he not been there, I wouldn't be able to help and reach out and touch people now.
Man. Just gotta let that breathe for a second.
I've been doing a lot of breathing the last 15, 16 months. And these poems have been central to the healing. And I find that every time I share one, it seems like it's something somebody needed to hear.
Yeah.
So I am truly humbled because I didn't know how to write from the heart until I allowed God in to start healing it. And now I'm cooking gourmet meals. I'm doing drawings that hang in my office and people think that artists did them. And I'm sitting there going, has that been in me? We go back to the seed. Of course it was. It always was. I was given poor soil. And the truth is, I grew into the plant I was designed from experience to be.
Yeah.
Not the plant that I was designed from divine design to be. But it's never too late.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always the grafting. There's always the replanting.
Oh, man.
So I've been replanted into some better soil because I allowed the gardener to remove me from the soil.
Yeah. Which goes back to your name.
It's pronounced Christopher, which means bearer of Christ. That's my calling. I'm supposed to help bring the kingdom into this world. And I'm going to do it by reaching out to other children of God that have been hurt in different ways and providing them an avenue to healing and not the easy way out.
Yeah. I can definitely say I don't think there's an easy way out.
But yet we chase it. The pursuit of happiness.
Yeah. I think
it's a road to hell on earth. It really is a road to hell on earth.
But it's a messaging. You're fighting against a worldly messaging.
Absolutely.
It's a fight of saying, I know the message, you hear louder, and know that message will always be louder than the true message.
Of course.
The truth is always going to be a lot quieter than the message that is pumped through our music, through our social platforms, through
that appeal to our fleshly desire.
There it is. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Still quiet voice that you have to take the time to hear. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But those who listen will hear. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
For sure.
We hear that message over and over throughout. And Jesus shared parables. Why? So that those with ears to hear would hear. And so that those who were only going to use it for their own whatever purposes, they fell off to the side. There were a lot more than 12 disciples, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It just ended up
with
the 12.
Yeah.
One of whom was always going to be the betrayer, but who Jesus loved so much that nobody knew who the betrayer was going to be.
Right. And I think that's the crazy part of that. He could have revealed who the betrayer was from day one, but because of his love, he washed his feet just like he washed all the other 11.
Or did.
That makes complete sense. But hey there, before we continue on with today's episode of God's Glory and Men's Real Stories, we want to take a moment to share something special with you. Our new sponsor, Confined Space Coffee. Are you looking for a coffee that fuels your heart and uplifts your spirits? Well, look no further. Confined Space Coffee isn't just your average brew. It's a handcrafted blend designed for those who seek connection, inspiration, and a good coffee to sip while sharing stories. It's made from the finest beans sourced from around the world, where every cup is a testament to hard work and dedication. Perfect for you, our listeners, who appreciate the beauty in every step of the journey. At Confined Space Coffee, they believe that great conversation and deep connections often happen over a warm cup of coffee. Whether you're getting ready for a long day or winding down and listening to a powerful conversation on our podcast, their coffee is there to accompany you. So here's the best part as a special offer to our listening community. You can use the code GLORY, capital GLORY, at checkout to receive 10% off your first order. That's right, experience the vibrant flavors and rich stories waiting for you in every sip. So why not brew some Confined Space Coffee today? Gather around the table, share your own stories, and let the warmth of great coffee bring you closer to those you love. Remember, brewing coffee is an art, and at Confined Space Coffee, they're dedicated to making every cup a masterpiece, while bringing attention to the dark, confined spaces we find ourselves in that bring us closer to God. Now, let's get back to today's episode. Remember, whether it's sharing God's glory or exploring men's real stories, great coffee makes everything better. Thanks again for tuning in. Come on.
Sure did. Wash the feet of the man who was going to turn him in for 30 pieces of silver, as prophesied in Isaiah.
Come on.
Yeah.
My God knows that word. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I think I just realized that a while.
Yeah.
I was reading something that was revealed. I'm like, whoa, which was the cost at that time in Isaiah, which is the cost of what?
A slave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Gee.
If you want to be a leader, you will be a servant.
Man, listen.
And by the way, I love Instagram's algorithm because I've been careful to curate it. Man, I get some good stuff now. I'm telling you, I'll often, right before bed, I'm like, da-da-da-da-da, and I hit one, I'm like, yep, now it's bedtime.
Yeah.
I got my nugget for the night. Let me just like be in this place.
Yeah.
And what I heard was this: the feelings are important. Make your feelings your consultant, not your CEO. And the problem is when we allow our feelings to be what controls us.
Yeah.
They're designed to tell us certain things, right? Like anger is often that we've been wronged.
Right.
And it's part of us sort of speaking up and saying, hey, you got to stand up for. You got to do whatever, right?
Right.
Guilt that we did something wrong. But we should not then live in that emotion. That emotion is supposed to be a flag that gets us back on the path towards forgiveness, repentance, amends, whatever it may be.
Right.
But you can only do that if it's the consultant informing you.
For sure.
But if you make it the CFO who's got control of the money,
there it is.
or you make it the CEO who's got control of the business, that business is getting run into the ground pretty quick.
Sure. Dang, that's so heavy, man. Listen, that right there in itself is a whole nugget when you really run it, when you run your life through the filter of that and look at how you have allowed, in my case, the shame. To keep me hidden.
Yes.
To keep me hiding.
Yeah.
And then the guilt and oh my goodness, if I'm exposed, how that just continued to be that was a repetitive record that continued every morning. I woke up to like, what if they see me for who I really am? Let's run that one. Let's run that one, instead of somebody saying, yes, but what if they saw you for who you really were, the you that God created in his image, that went through things that were very similar to theirs, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
Because you're yet to actually say, something happened to me and I'm tired of letting it control me and be the CEO of my life. So I can't hide behind it anymore because I'm falling apart. I'm falling apart piece by piece. The anxiety, the depression that I carry every day.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's run me into a ground.
You got to fire it as CEO.
Come on.
It's still got a place in the company.
For sure.
Just can't be the CEO.
For sure. For sure. I love that. Yeah.
We've decided to go in a different direction.
Yeah. Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
I love that. Man, what else did God put in you, man, that he sent you here? What other nuggets you want to leave our algorithm with today?
And I'm frankly, what you had started out with about stopping by. Initially I was debating whether or not to come down. I'm in Jersey, and I work in New York City. And as you said, it was a mutual friend that connected us. And frankly, first time I spoke with you, I was like, I need to really get connected with this brother. Like, there's so many similarities, but frankly, I feel like we can be those brothers as it's described in Proverbs. Iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. And actually many years ago when I was in Michigan, we had a Bible study. It wasn't the design, but for many years it was all just brothers in graduate school, all of us like trying to just make it through academia and get these terminal degrees, sometimes in fields and in spaces that did not necessarily want us there. And so we were leaning on God, and we called the group Men of Valor, and it was based on as iron sharpens iron. So I'm sort of now in a space with greater discernment where I'm being led to, and I'm searching out for brothers where that's the case. And it's clear to me that you're one of those folks, like with me and hopefully me with you. I think there's such a need for men to be able to heal, and to be told it's okay to heal, and to be told that, guess what? Actually, powerlessness is one of your best weapons, because that goes contrary to everything we're ever taught. But in powerlessness, that means there's only one thing you can count on.
Yep.
So we have to hold on to. And so I'm like thinking, like, I don't know. I shared what I did earlier about, with my mom, and this is the first Mother's Day where she's not here. And for me, I mean, there's a sadness to it, but for my dad, this is the first year he doesn't have his wife. For 53 years, they were married and together for a few years before that. And as happens every once in a while, his birthday falls on Mother's Day this year.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty rough. So this isn't about being a good son. This isn't about any of that kind of stuff. I felt a pulling from God to come down, to be here with him, to just be whatever he needs. And it's going to give me an opportunity to go by the grave site. The last day I was there was when we put her into the ground. And so that was 10 months ago. And I've gone through even more healing. And I think it's important to have that conversation. Well, it just so happens they're in southeastern North Carolina. So yesterday I came a day earlier than I was planning, and I got to drive back through the Shenandoah Valley, which is gorgeous. And another day, if we have another opportunity, I will tell you about the 5 days in November that transformed my life a few years ago. But it was in that Shenandoah Valley. And I didn't even think about it when I was starting on the trip that I was going to be going through these same roads, through these same towns, looking at these same mountains that were so important to me, getting back in connection with God's creation and understanding how I was created. And I got to do that yesterday. So it's like swung down 81 into 77, and I'd never come through 77. And oh my goodness, when you're coming down through Virginia into, oh man, I'm a mountain dude.
Yeah,
I hike,
me too.
I hike. I love the waterfalls. And I got to tell you, at that point, I'm like, I really wish I either had an autopilot or somebody else was, because I just want to be like looking around at everything.
Yeah.
And so the beauty yesterday, and I got there as the sun was going down, and it was just gorgeous. And it was like, that was a gift.
Yeah.
And I got to do that because it's like, let me swing by Charlotte. Because I know you're here, and we had talked about maybe doing a podcast, and the mutual friend.
Yeah.
Who I had only met virtually. I got to meet him in person. So God's given me a little bit extra before I go over to be there with my dad. So this is like filling my spiritual cup.
Yeah.
And so that's a gift, and it's a blessing. And if, me being here and if this podcast is something that can, help others, I'm grateful to be a vessel.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's real. And if nothing else, I tell people that there are moments where even sitting across from a man, because I know we laugh at a retreat we go to, we always talk about how, like, and I recognize it now, that when men speak, we walk up to a man and slowly our shoulders go side to side.
Oh, yeah.
Talk this way.
Yeah.
So even beginning to be able to sit across from a brother and hear and be filled up and realize, wow, okay, I thought I was crazy. I thought I was the only one that kind of saw it that way. But just like the opportunity on Mother's Day weekend to just be able to say, wow, that was what I needed to hear, God. Even if it was just the poem hit so hard that it was just like, whoa, that's what I needed to hear, God. That's what I needed to hear. That gave me if nothing else, gave me the permission to know that time when I was angry, when I showed up on that mountaintop and I was ready to fight you, I wanted you to come down and see me. There was grace in that.
Yeah.
You weren't angry at me. You were angry with me. You were angry about everything that I was angry about. As you said, there were tears in his eye as he watched me go through things, knowing that the moment and what was going to come from that was going to be so much greater than I could ever imagine, and how I was going to turn around and gift that to somebody else through my vulnerability was going to be so much greater than the small story of just the book of Robert.
Yes.
It was going to spring forth books of Aaron, books of Christopher, books of Benjamin, and other people's lives where they began to say, okay, God, here, I'll give it to you. I'll give you my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate you coming, bringing your gift of vulnerability today through your creativity and what God has done in your life, because I don't ever see this as like, oh, we're just telling stories. No, we're sharing books that may never be recorded in a book form, but is an opportunity for us to just say, wow, okay, if God can do that, man, listen, like, can he do it again?
Yeah.
Can he do it again?
Yeah.
and I think that's the beauty of it. He already wants to do it. He's already got a plan. He's
Yeah.
just looking for you to be like, yeah, okay.
He wants us.
Yeah.
God had no need of creating humans. He chose us because he
Yeah.
wanted to have relationship, right? What is our purpose for being here, right? The big question.
Mhm.
I believe it's communion with Father
Mhm.
and to be unified in this part of our journey, because we have to remember that this time on earth is but a small part of our overall
Yeah,
journey.
for sure.
And he wanted us to be with him in this space, communing with him. Like he didn't, we constantly search for like, how can I be needed? How can I be needed? God straight up said, yeah, okay, but you're wanted.
Mhm.
The creator of all things
Mhm.
wanted
Yeah.
us to be here. And he cried over me. It's overwhelming.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely overwhelming. And I hadn't thought about something you had said, which is hopefully the message shared today, this conversation, I hope it helps some dudes who don't see Mother's Day as a day to celebrate, like me. For so many years, it was just a day that reminded me of pain. And every year I'm bombarded with, give flowers to the person who was your first love. Give flowers to the person who loved you more than anyone else. And I just wanted to throw things through the screen because it just reminded me of what I didn't have,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's okay. It's okay for it not to be a day that you quote unquote celebrate. That's okay.
Mhm.
But it's a day.
Yeah.
It's a day. We've survived 100% of the days up to this point.
Yeah.
May be hard. Go to God. Go to groups. Get with your brothers. Do the things that bring you closer to God. Don't let it tear you. But also understand that it's okay. You don't have to try to make it something that it's not.
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have told me that years ago. Because when May started every year, I went into anxiety attacks for some years and couldn't figure out why.
Mm.
May 1st hit this year. I was good. I was good
Mm.
because I knew what was coming. And I think it's important for dudes to know that.
Yeah.
It's okay. Not all of us were blessed with having healed mothers.
Whole mothers. Yeah.
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 And people who are hurt, they hurt others.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't in her heart to hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am also innately aware of the consequences.
Yeah. And the product of her story
Yeah.
that just continued to be repeated, that by your choice could stop with you.
There you go.
Yep.
There you
I'm
go.
living in that now.
I'm going to be the last one in
Yeah.
this line. That's as much as I can control it, right? I'm going to be
Yeah.
the last one. And I'm calling people to account. And I'm doing things that are, not necessarily what all the family members want. But if you're going to try to break stuff, there has to be courageousness behind it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
There has to.
Yeah, it does.
And that's the case for a lot of us. I think we need to hear more stories from those who are seeking to do that work so that we're encouraged. Something that I heard that I like very much in one of the groups that I've been involved with to help me through various traumas and addictions and struggles has been, you got to share your story, because your story may be the first chapter in somebody else's recovery journey.
Mm,
and I've met
good.
people who became the first few chapters of mine.
Yeah.
And I needed to hear their stories so that I could then begin to say, well, what's my story? And now if in sharing my story, it becomes the beginning for others. Who knows? One of the people that God may have hear this story and it may change them. They may do amazing things in this world and transform. And it all started with a story. The shirt that I'm wearing today, where it says "You are enough" on the front, on the back it says "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place with you in it." We're billboards, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But we can choose what we're a billboard for. I choose to be a billboard for kindness. And I choose to be a billboard for thriving, not just surviving. And I'm able to do that because of people and stories that God brought into my life to help me see him when I was unable to see him.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
And now I get the profound honor and blessing of carrying that gift to others. If I get a chance to do that every day for the rest of my life, man, ain't a much better life.
I love that. I love the way you put that, man. Come on. That's so real. That's so real. You get the privilege to carry that.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
I get to.
Yeah. I appreciate you, by the way, of just what you said. It's what you said about Mother's Day, of like, there are very few people that I feel sometimes say it's okay that you're not like everybody else who is like, you get one mother, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, how dare you not want to celebrate your mother on Mother's Day just because she wasn't perfect, and they guilt trip and gaslight you into like, this thought of like, dude, what kind of man are you? In turn, it invalidates everything that you've seen, you've held on to, that you've carried, and that you've in turn hurt other people with, because you didn't choose to carry it, you didn't choose to want to have experienced it,
right?
But it was your story. It was, as your mom might have said, she wanted you to carry her burdens.
Yeah.
Which somebody could say, well, that's biblical. I mean, but there were some things that should have never been a burden to be passed down.
And that was not my purpose for being born.
For sure.
But she tried to make that my purpose. And let me, reiterate, I love my mom. And I was able to get to a place of forgiveness where I was able to say that I love and I accept her as she is.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't have a relationship with that person because they weren't willing to be honest and to admit and to she was not willing or not able. She wasn't at a place where she was able to accept what she did. And if I stayed in relationship with her, I was going to continue to experience things which she was not willing or not able to admit the consequences of. So at that point, I'm intentionally putting myself into harm's way. Forgiveness, this was one of the most important lessons I've learned in my whole life. Forgiveness does not always come with reconciliation, and that is biblical.
Yeah, 100%.
But 100%. A lot of people, to your point of gaslighting,
100%,
will tell you it's not. It absolutely is biblical. In fact, forgive and forget is not biblical.
100%. 100%. But okay, so I'm going to ask a maybe a heavy question. Do you believe that even if you were given what you were looking for from your mother, that it would have created a space where reconciliation would have been viable, even if she, like a lot of times I hear people say, well, I just need this closure.
Oh.
So we can move forward. I need the truth. I need you to come clean. I need you to admit, because if you don't admit it, then maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe I was tripping when that happened. Maybe it didn't happen. So I need you to admit it in order for me to be able to close this chapter?
Yeah. I think it's heavy because there's actually a lot of questions in that one question, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for us to understand that we don't need to have anything from anybody to get closure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something I heard that stuck with me is I realized how strong I was when I was able to accept an apology that was never going to be given.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
That's why forgiveness is so important, because for God, that's God's gift to us. To forgive unanchors us. It doesn't make what people did okay, but it dislodges us from the weight of how we were wronged.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, regardless of reconciliation, we need to, and if we're truly walking with Jesus, we don't need them for closure.
Yeah.
We only need God for closure,
for
right?
sure.
To your point about would that been an avenue of reconciliation, 100%. And that's what I'm called to do as well. And it's my mom. That's what I would have wanted to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But when somebody, makes the amends, truly repents and is like, look, I did these things. I'm doing what needs to be done to heal, to grow, to learn from, and to try as best I can to make up to you for what was done, admitting it was wrong, admitting I'm sorry for the things that I did, repenting of the pain that I caused you, and I'm trying to do better and I'm getting better, and I am here to have whatever relationship you want with me now that I've done this. That is absolutely and should be a doorway to reconciliation. And I would actually go as far as to say that if that happens and you still keep the door closed on reconciliation, now the issue falls back on you.
Yeah.
Because you've not allowed the mercy that you've been given to be shared.
Goes back to the whole servant and the king
It does.
thing. Yeah.
It does. It absolutely does. And when you see when somebody is hurt greatly and somebody does that, and then the door for reconciliation is open, so often you end up with a relationship that was stronger than it was before the break.
Come on. Yeah. Ooh, that's so
I would have loved to have had that opportunity with my mom. She never gave it to me. And I'm not angry about it. I truly believe she did the best she could.
Yeah.
And to the day she died, even when we weren't talking, I regularly prayed for her healing and that all of the trauma from her past, that she would be able to give it to God and be freed from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I could do for her.
Yeah.
I still called her every Mother's Day. I still sent a card, but that was more out of a feeling that it was the right thing to do. It certainly didn't come from a place of joy.
Yeah. It comes from that overflow of love you talked about, I have this overflow.
Yeah.
And I'm called to love you.
Yeah.
Despite what my feelings may say sometimes that try to rule me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's good. But bro, Christopher, I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping in. I appreciate you sharing this. I appreciate you giving me a greater perspective and on things and equipping me even for this weekend. And how I approach, the holiday, the moment that God has given all of us. He's given us another day. And at the end of the day, it's his day. And it's his day to not just say, hey, thank you, Lord. But hey, Lord, I want to be more like you in this day. And so, man, it's been good. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate the invite.
Thank you. Before we get out of here, is there anything that, after slamming us with that slam poetry, bro, is there any way that somebody who wants to maybe connect with you, wants to like get to know you, wants to even just send you a note, say thank you, even if it's just through social media, is there any way people can connect with you or reach out to you or
Well, best way, I guess, would be probably through Instagram.
Okay.
The Infamous. That was a name my brothers gave me back at in Michigan. They said that sometimes after I talk and I share stuff, they could only come up with an adjective. I didn't even get a noun. I got an adjective as a nickname. So yeah, on Insta you'll see the Infamous, and truthfully I'm I'm in a space where I think I'm ready to start sharing some of this stuff. I've been doing this for a couple of years. I got about 90 of these poems. Um, and yeah, just have a conversation. I'd say that's probably the best space, and I'll get you the specifics so that it can be shared.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put them in the show notes. That's awesome. Well, cool. Well, hey, thank you again. I appreciate you. I appreciate all those who dropped in and sat with us today. And believe it wasn't just a coincidence that you're here. I don't believe it was just a coincidence that you decided to listen in to us today. It didn't matter when this is. You could listen to us 5 years from now, and it was exactly when you were supposed to hear this today. And so, I thank everybody who's made these episodes and this podcast and possible. And as I say all the time, it's not possible without the men who God has put it on their hearts. As I always tell them, hey, look, don't let it be because of my ass. Let it be because God is leading you. Let it be because God, you feel like what God has done in your life, it's time to share it. It's bigger than an ask. And so I appreciate your yes. So I love all those who listened today. I appreciate you. Love you guys. And we will catch you on the next episode. Y'all see y'all soon.
And that wraps up another episode of God's Glory and Men's Real Stories. I'm Justin Moore, and we want to give a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in and being part of our community. Your support means the world to us, and we hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did. If what you heard resonated with you, please consider subscribing or leaving a review on today's video. It really helps us reach more listeners like you. Don't forget to connect with us on social media at God's Glory and Men's Real Stories for updates, new episode clips, and to share your thoughts on today's episode. We love hearing from you. If this conversation happened to shed a light on past experiences of yours that may have been happy moments or maybe hurtful moments, feel free to keep the conversation going in the comments below, so as a community we can listen, pray with you, or point you to helpful resources. Join us next time for another great episode, and until then, let's give God the glory for all He's doing in our stories.